Tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, da-hi-di-hi-di-hi-di-ho. Tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, happily ever after. Tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, the princess, she walked happily home. Tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, she lived happily ever after.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the 100th spectacular episode of What the Folklore. This is the first and only time we're recording this episode.
We have never once attempted a 100th episode before, only to have it mysteriously vanish into the Soundwave Gremlins' mouths.
That would be horrible if that had happened.
What a waste of our time and energy.
Thankfully, this is the timeline where everything goes right.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, Nelson Mandela Bernstein?
Yep, definitely. I'm out of jail. I'm free. Nothing went wrong either. I didn't even have to be in jail. It was just a fun time.
It was
in the good timeline.
It was like an exchange program where you get.
Yeah.
How does that work?
It's a thing in the not the future. What are we in? Another timeline? a good timeline?
Yeah, it's in good timeline. When you misbehave, you get sent to reform school, which is really kind of nice. Like, they just gently nudge you in the right direction. And there are prison cells for you to hang out in so that you can like see what the alternative is. And even if you don't misbehave, you can go on an exchange program with someone who is supposed to be in those cells, so they can see what life is like when they're a good person, and you can see what life is like if you're not a good person. And you guys can like make your decisions in the future based on those experiences.
It's called having a time in, and it's very rad. It's very good.
We should do this show.
Yeah.
This 100th super special.
For the first time, according to my alternative facts.
First, last, and only.
Okay, that's enough of whatever we're doing here.
It's What the Folklore. It's episode 100.
Yeah.
You know the deal. Probably.
You've been along for the ride. I mean, N times, right?
N times.
Where N is
100.
Anywhere between 0 and 99.
Minus, yeah.
Plus the number of Ramblecasts, which could exist. So thank you for joining us for the big 100.
Can you guys believe we've read 100 folktales?
We haven't.
I can, because I remember all of them.
We haven't?
And
I guess we've read slightly less than.
We've read slightly more, because we've had those episodes where we read short ones back to back.
The Hillbillies.
Oh, okay.
So we have no clue what the actual tally is.
That makes up for the ones like the Yellow Dwarf that took us 2 episodes to tell.
Maybe it just evens out.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Sure.
Maybe it all evens out. Okay, what were we talking? Yeah, this is number 100.
You may have heard us mention that.
We're back on track. But what? Okay, you'd think we'd have figured out our pitch by now, but it's still a work in progress. This is What the Folklore.
We make sense of senseless tales.
Thanks, Doug. See you next week.
Right? No. What's your name?
I'm Carmen. I'm the reader.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Gordy.
And I am going to be reading to you guys a super special 100th episode story from a lady.
Oh?
Yeah, I know who it is.
A special lady.
I'm going to play coy.
I'm not, because nobody has the time for this anymore.
We certainly don't.
This is 100 times round the merry-go-round.
We probably don't have time for this either, because
I've seen it coming in the rearview mirror. I know what's here. Let's do it.
This is a Dol Noir tale, which means we're in for another long night, the 3 of us.
Yeah, if you don't know who Madame Dol Noir is, she's a French Baroness who thought it would be fun to just make up whatever and call them fairy tales.
Specifically to hurt us and our feelings.
There's no guild for this. Like, there's no union and no membership rules. And certain people abuse that, and she's one of them.
She didn't understand erasers. She just kind of like takes the forward plunge into the abyss with her stories and drags us along behind
I think somebody invented the eraser specifically to spite her.
So,
as you'll see.
So because this is the first and only time we've ever recorded a 100th episode, and I was totally not caught by surprise with the need to replace our original plan with an actual story.
Trademark, copyright.
Because our original plan that we never recorded ever and never had any issues with at all because it was perfect was going over the Folklore-niverse, the Book of Doug.
That sounds stupid.
It turned out it was. So,
Well, I don't think it's stupid, but you'll see it in another format.
yeah, we need visual accompaniment. So,
What's this one called?
I'm reading this sans notes. I'm just going straight from Sur La Lune with occasional sidelines into oaks.nvg.org because Sur La Lune has a terrible editor. Sorry if you work for Sur La Lune, but
In
please,
an editing position.
But please look through your stories because you mentioned cars in this one, and that's definitely not the case. I think you meant cart or chariot.
Are you saying that this is a bad thing?
You're saying this is what Peter Jackson did when a car went by the background in Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah,
sounds
this
like
is that moment.
It sounds like they're doing our job for us, and I'm kind of okay with that.
Well,
Are you? I feel encroached on.
this
Somebody's
story,
getting a cease and desist.
This story is called The Good Little Mouse. So this is Dalnois, 1892. We know what she's about. You know what you're getting into. If you don't, well,
Enjoy.
we have some surprises for you. Let's go.
Hit it!
Once upon a time, there lived a king and a queen, and they loved each other a ton. And, were super into each other, and nothing else in the world mattered.
Mice, yes, no.
No, people, king and queen.
Yeah, suspicious.
They hunted together, which seems like an interesting pastime for a queen, but, I mean, good on them for gender equality and love.
She's allowed to hunt.
Yeah, they, every day, or as the editors at Sur La Lune say, every clay, they hunted hares and stags in the forest.
You've given me 2 examples and I'm on board.
They also did lots of cool dances at balls.
Cool dances.
Yeah, specific dances.
Like electro swing?
Like
Yeah.
the Dougie? Is that still around? No one ever taught me how.
How stanky are their legs?
Nor did I inquire. I never requested to be taught how to Dougie because I assumed I was already partaking at that point. And
Wait, what?
I
You assumed that you were constantly in a state of Dougie?
No, I assumed that asking to be taught how to Dougie was step 1.
Oh, okay.
And so I didn't want to take
Didn't wanna
step
broach
1
it.
until I knew what all the rest were.
Right.
You know,
So it just never got started.
there's a YouTube out there that can answer a lot of your questions.
But is that the society that you want to live in?
Is this a trick question?
Instead of learning from real people?
Well, your options here are learning from real people or not learning at all, and you chose not learning at all.
I didn't. I didn't. Where would I showcase this?
I don't know, at balls.
It's a strong argument.
The two of them laughed and sang and invented all kinds of games to amuse themselves, and in short, there were never two people so happy.
Yeah, that's gross is what it is.
Yeah, they're a disgusting couple. Their relationship goals.
It double sucks because everyone legally has to look at them do it.
Well, they do, and their subjects followed their example.
Oh, gross.
So each man was merrier than his fellow, and for all these reasons, this kingdom was called the Land of Joy.
No such place.
But
Try again, Dalnois.
Was everybody else into it?
I mean, either legally or just through
It was compulsory.
following the example. They are into it. I don't know how
Okay.
willingly they are, but they are.
Okay. In all of her stories that we've read, I think at least two of them for sure, she has inserted herself as a character, or so it feels.
Yeah.
And so I'm on the lookout for who Dalnois has placed herself to be.
Our king gets a name now. He's King Joyous. And he has a neighbor who lived very differently. This neighbor was the sworn enemy of every kind of pleasure, only took delight in fighting and quarreling. There was always a scowl on his face, he never trimmed his beard, his eyes were hollow. He was skinny and shrunken and always clad in black, and his greasy, dirty hair stood on end. So he's basically Count Olaf, I guess.
King Dirt Bitch.
For his own amusement, he liked to see passers-by knocked down and killed.
What a guy.
Okay.
He hung criminals with his own hands, and torturing them gave him the keenest joy.
What does that mean? I assume it means that he was the one who let the rope go.
No, I'm assuming he's like hands on the throat.
That was going to be my suggestion, is that he
personally
held their throat until all life escaped them.
He
I think
personally
that's-
throttled them.
Yes.
That's my headcanon.
Yeah, makes sense.
If he heard of a good mother who loved her little girl or boy, he sent for her, and before her eyes he broke the little girl or boy's arms or wrung their necks.
Okay.
Why are people still answering those subpoenas?
This kingdom was called the Land of Tears.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Tear King hears about King Joyous's happiness, and he's very envious. Although I don't know why, like the things that make them happy are extremely different, so...
It does seem like they could just coexist.
Yeah, to each their own, I guess. Would you say that Tear King is quarrelsome?
He is quarrelsome, and he does pull up a quarrelsome army to go quarrel with his neighbor and press him hard till he should be dead or seriously wounded.
I like that there's a spectrum of success.
Like
Either dead or pretty close.
10 points for dead, 8 for seriously wounded. And then tally it up and add it to the big board.
So, as he was gathering all his resources for this war, everybody was terrified and said, "Whosoever this wicked king attacks, he will give no quarter to." So then he marches toward King Joyful's country, and King Joyful sets about defending himself, and his queen nearly dies of fright and says, "We have to run away, get all the money you have, and we will go to the other end of the world." The king
Just
said,
them or their whole kingdom?
I don't know. Take that as you will.
Are they ready to bail on their people?
I'm going to vote yes.
I think
First
they're
blush?
bailing.
Yeah, their happiness is paramount. The other people's happiness.
Yeah, which seems kind of messed up. Because everybody was forced to watch them. Like, in all their pleasures, right?
Yeah, they watch these people make out.
Like, all their pleasures?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am right.
Got him.
I'm not happy about it.
The king says he's got too much courage for that and would rather die than be a coward, so he sets off to war. She cries a lot and is apparently pregnant now, also. Because if she says if her king's killed in the war, she'll be a widow and a prisoner, and the wicked king will harm her in every possible way. And so she spends her days neither eating nor sleeping because she's so anxious about this.
You know, one of those stress pregnancies.
Yeah, they
One of those
happen.
famous stress pregnancies.
They just pop more stress out of your uterus.
It makes it go faster. You don't have to wait 9 months. It is generally recommended, but if you're stressed enough, you can build up a stress bubble behind the baby and just push it out.
That's sound science. I feel
Yeah,
like that's real.
and the babies are fine. Whenever, any point in the process, they're fine.
I like any scientific journal that ends with the babies are fine.
It's like no fooling. The babies are all cool. Anyway, that's my experiment.
Also,
Hope you liked it.
Also with an exclamation point for good measure. The babies, they're fine.
Okay, see you next time.
In Science Journal. So the king writes to her until the day that he dies, which he does. And then,
How many days?
Enough.
Did he get captured?
Why do you want more details? You
Where-
know what she does.
Where did he go?
War.
What? But he's just like fighting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now he's dead.
Not good enough, apparently.
But okay.
So she faints and apparently has a son or something.
In that order?
I don't know. The people bear her away and lay her in the bed while all her women stood around here, one weeping for her father and another for her son. So maybe she did have a son and he also died in the war. I don't know.
Is he dead either way?
Death has happened. And now all at once they hear shrieks of murder and pillage.
That was quick.
Yeah.
That war was not very far away.
The Wicked King comes around.
It was down the block.
Yeah, I kept picturing her like them writing letters back and forth, but he was just like outside
Throwing paper airplanes.
in the, I was gonna say parking lot, but I don't think that's accurate. The courtyard.
They live in a White Castle.
The outside part.
So the king and folks are coming to the castle, killing everybody in their wake, like just anyone within sword's reach. He enters the palace armed to the teeth, goes to the queen's chamber. She pulls the 5-year-old trick when there's a monster under your bed and just hides under her covers.
Can't see it. They can't see you.
And this does work for a little bit because
Does it?
Proves out.
He calls to her 3 times and she doesn't answer, but then he gets angry and says that he believes she's laughing at him. Don't you know that your life is in my hands? And then he finds her, snatches the covers off and her cap so that her lovely hair falls down, which he then grabs, twists around his arm, and flings her over his back like a sack of wheat and carries her off on his black horse. She begs for mercy, and he laughs and says, "Cry and make your moan, it only amuses me."
Danois was having a rough period in her life, I think.
This is her dark, gothic tale.
Yeah, she's working through some angst in this one.
He took her to his own country, vowing to hang her, but his people told
I'm real good at it.
Yeah. His people told him it would be a pity because she's about to have a kid. I don't know why this would sway him, but it does.
It's like, yeah.
2 for 1, dog!
It's just a deal.
It occurred to him that if she gives birth to a daughter, this daughter might be wed to his son.
Okay. Oh, but why? Yeah, but why, though?
I don't know.
He already has a son.
That seems like a waste. And he already took this kingdom. The wedding does nothing.
He doesn't need to, solidify the alliance.
Yeah, but he wants his son to get some. Down the line.
No matter what.
Surely there is an existing woman.
Maybe his son's really young, too. Maybe his son's also a baby, and he just wants to make sure that his future is secure.
No.
And that he's got some sweet juice to tap.
No.
What?
No, that can't.
Arranged marriages were made when people were babies all the time.
But she can't be the only option.
No, but she's the one he's got slung over his back right now, so he's pretty good.
There must be an easier solution than wait for a baby to be born.
Also, the arrangement is to benefit the family in some way, not just 'cause.
Go get one. He's okay taking children and choking them to death.
Well,
he must be okay with just stealing one for his own purposes.
She's gonna give him a fresh one.
Okay.
It's gonna be fresh from the bakery.
Guaranteed no bruises to start with.
Right.
Alright, I guess.
So he sends for a fairy from the borders of his kingdom to go see if she's gonna have a daughter or a son, so he knows whether or not to hang her.
Wait, a fairy?
Yeah.
What? Which fairy?
A fairy.
They're the only ones with
fairy
X-rays.
Yeah. They
To
have the
border?
ultrasound machines.
Yeah.
To the border of his kingdom?
The fairy lives on the border of his kingdom. He sends for her to come to his kingdom. He then treats her nicer than was his custom and takes her up to the girl in the tower, which is a shitty tower that she describes for a while. The fairy is deeply touched by this woman's plight. And,
by an angel?
And she curtsies and whispers as she hugs her to take courage, because her sorrows won't last forever, and she's going to be of service.
I'm going to smother you with a pillow right here.
The queen's consoled, begs her to take pity on her. The wicked king gets sick of them talking to each other and yells at her to tell him what the gender of the kid's going to be. And the fairy tells him that it's going to be a girl who's going to be the most beautiful and accomplished princess that ever was seen, and wishes the child endless gifts and honors. And the king says, if she's not beautiful and accomplished, I will hang her to her mother's neck, and I will hang her mother on a tree, and no one shall hinder me.
Don't know what that means.
It means he's going to hang a baby off of her mom and hang her mom off of a tree.
It's a noose chain.
Yeah.
Very good name for a metal band.
Yeah, Danois was,
What kind of bug would that be?
What kind of bug?
Yeah.
What do
It's
you
not
mean?
a centipede.
What? Does it have to be a bug?
I think it's just a chain.
What if it's just two elephants who got very tangled up?
Or giraffes.
It's not a catchy title.
Or giraffes. Giraffes
you're
in
not
a
gonna
knot.
get catchier than noose chain. Gordy already got it. He won.
But it's not the human centipede then, which is the joke that I want to make.
No,
Yeah, but
I know what you're circling.
Right, but that joke doesn't exist because it's bad.
I don't know how to land it. I don't know. I don't think there are insects that hang each other. Like as far as I know, humans are the only species.
It's not that you guys didn't want to land it. Or didn't know how to land
It's
it.
not
it's
that-
specifically that you didn't want to.
No,
No, it's not
there's
that
no
I'm not
landing
unwilling.
pad.
I'm not unwilling.
You didn't
to
even
land this.
try.
We
You just said noose chain, moving on.
we tried a little bit,
Give
and then Gordy won that one. Give this one to Gordy.
one what?
That metaphor.
But it's not a joke, it's just a thing.
The prize money.
How much prize money's on the line?
Enough.
It's secret.
Secret prize money.
The loser doesn't get to know.
He leaves. Fairy leaves. The queen is sad because if she has a pretty girl, she'll marry this guy's monkey of a son, and if he's ugly, they'll both hang. So there's not a lot of winning here. And thinks maybe she could hide her somewhere so that he never sees her and therefore can't make that decision. So she whines for a while about this as she continues to be pregnant. She only gets 3 peas cooked in water for the whole day. Like each meal. Each day is that one
Was
meal.
she-
Those are weird cravings.
Was she tasked to do anything?
No, she's locked in a tower and given 3 peas and a little morsel of black bread. That's all she's
just
given.
fending for herself up there.
She becomes thinner than a herring. And one evening, while she was spinning for the wicked king, who made her work it every day and night, she saw a very pretty little mouse come in through a hole.
Who has ever said that?
There are pretty mice. There's some very pretty mice in the world.
Have you acknowledged them as such?
Yeah, I've looked at pictures of mice and been like, that's so pretty. And I've also wanted pet mice.
What kind of mice?
Dormice are pretty.
What makes them pretty,
I don't know, they're just
specifically?
smooth fur, symmetrical features, nice coloration. There's the kangaroo rat that has the floofy tail.
Like a bodacious body, though?
No.
How curvy?
Like just
I'm not
slamming
sexualizing
by.
mice. And I hate that I have to defend that I'm not sexualizing mice. They can be pretty.
I mean, Disney already did it, right?
Yeah, with Bianca.
Huh?
With Bianca, she's pretty sexualized.
Oh, I was talking about their early cartoon, Fuckboi Micky. I guess that one too.
the Sonic the Hedgehog of the Disneyverse.
Yeah, they
Mickey Mouse.
They did Song of the South, and then that one.
Mercifully, that was one of their silent films.
Yeah, but the visuals are enough.
She talks to the mouse saying, like, this is a bad place to look for food because I get 3 peas and some bread, so,
Get your own!
like, you're gonna starve here with me. But the mouse ran around the room, dancing and cutting capers like a little monkey, and the queen was so amused that she gave it the only pea she had left.
Cutting capers?
Yeah, like dancing.
Not like cutting the food capers.
No,
Because somebody lied if that is true.
no, not cutting the food.
Also, I don't believe that this woman is not just delirious from starvation at this point.
She's definitely that too.
Should we proceed assuming that all of this is just a hallucination?
Sure.
I plan to.
Because after she gives the mouse the pea, the table now features an excellent partridge and 2 pots of jam. Foods that I would not associate with each other, but I guess you can
Or a mouse.
put jam on a partridge if you want to. No one's going to stop you. Free country. Not this one she's in right now, but some of them are.
Some countries are free.
So she eats a little bit, but her appetite had not come back from the fasting. Dalnois
Good
has
over.
at least some experience, whether first or second hand, about how being hungry for a while makes you not want to eat. So that's a curious.
Maybe she just observed her servants.
She threw some sweets to the mouse, and it was lively and happy and fun. So the next day, the mouse eats all 3 peas and the bread, and the queen found nothing left, and she was angry. It says it's a naughty beast, and if she goes on doing this, I will die of hunger.
Where did she get sweets?
From I don't know, maybe the sweets of the jam. Or they were stuffed into the partridge. Who knows?
Starburst.
It's Dolnois. Things just show up.
Okay.
So she goes to cover up the large empty dish, because the gaoler always brings her peas in a big dish to make fun of her. She found all kinds of good things to eat.
Yeah, it's actually a
pretty solid gag.
It's a pretty good visual gag, actually.
So she's doing pretty well, except then she remembers her kid might hang, so she starts crying. And this continues for a while. And she decides that she's going to try and save up some of the straw from wherever.
Is she spinning?
I guess she's spinning straw. I don't know. Oh, the mouse is playing with straws. The mouse is playing with straws that come from wherever, and she thinks, if I have enough straw, I'm going to weave it into a basket, hide my girl in the basket, and, shove her out in the streets for people to take.
Is she in a tower?
Yes.
Good plan.
So, logistically, maybe not the soundest solution?
The basket will break the fall.
So the mouse keeps dragging straw into the room, and she gets plenty and makes the basket, and gives the mouse peas at mealtime and gets food in exchange. And one day she was looking through the window to see how long to make the cord to which she would fasten the basket to let it down.
There you go.
And below she saw a little old woman leaning on a staff who said to her, "I know your trouble, ma'am, and if you like, I will help you." And the queen said, "Oh, that would be awesome. And if you come to the foot of my tower every evening, I will let my poor child down to you. If you could feed it, I'll pay you well if I am ever rich."
Yeah.
Good deal.
Kind of glad you can't get away with that in this country.
The woman says, "I'm not fond of money, but I like good things to eat, and my favorite thing to eat is plump mouse. If you have any in your garret, kill them.
Hell yeah.
And throw them down to me. I shall not be ungrateful, and your baby will thrive."
Someone has an agenda.
An anti-mouse agenda.
So the queen begins to cry, and doesn't say a word in reply, and the old woman, after waiting for some time, asked her why she was weeping. The queen answered that there's only one mouse she knows, and it's so pretty and sweet she can't kill it. The old woman is really angry and says, "You care more for a silly little mouse that gnaws at everything than the child that is to be born to you. Very well, you're not to be pitied." And she leaves, scolding and muttering. So the queen found a nice meal prepared for her in the tower, and the mouse came and danced before her, and she just sat and cried, and then gave birth to a princess, who, instead of crying, smiled to her dear mother and held out her little hands as if she understood everything.
Just right there in the tower?
Yeah.
By herself?
Yeah. The queen put her in the basket, fastened a label to her swaddling clothes, which she got from somewhere, and...
Also made of straw.
Probably. And
This lady's coming up with a lot of stuff she did not initially have.
she writes on the label, "This unhappy little girl is called Joliet." Or Delicia in some versions of this story.
Yeah.
And then she drops the basket down, and she's about to drop the basket down, but the little mouse comes, gets in the basket with her, and the queen says, "It's cost me much to save your life, little mouse. I might lose my daughter. Anyone else would have killed you and given you over to the old glutton, but I could not." And then the mouse says, "Do not repent what you've done, madame. I am not so unworthy of your friendship as you may think." So she is frightened.
Say it more like Ava Gabor.
You do it.
No.
I don't know what that is.
Me neither.
Never mind.
If you demonstrate.
We might understand.
I mean, you guys have seen it. You just don't know.
Do I?
Yeah.
Have I?
It's Bianca.
What's that?
Oh, the mouse.
The sexiest mouse alive. We've been over this.
From the... Was it the Great Mouse? No,
Nope.
it's the other one.
Rescuers.
Rescuers, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Okay.
also Down Under.
The better of the two.
Queen was half dead of fright with hearing the mouse talk, and then the mouse's little snout started taking the form of a face, and so that was even worse.
And it just turned itself inside out into a man.
Its paws became hands and feet, and its whole body grew suddenly larger, and then she recognizes the mouse as the fairy who had told her that she was having a daughter.
Gross.
Yep. And the fairy says, I wanted to test your heart, but now I know it's good and you're capable of friendship.
I could have done it with magic, but this seemed funner.
This is much better.
We fairies, though we possess immense treasures and riches, seek love as the only consolation in life, and we find it rarely.
Seems like alternative universe.
The queen says, is it possible that being so rich and powerful as you are, you have difficulty finding friends? And the fairy responds, we are only loved because it is to people's advantage to show us affection, and we do not care for that. But when you loved me in the shape of a little mouse, you had no selfish motive. Then I wished to put you to a still harder test, so I took the form of an old woman. It was I who talked to you at the foot of the tower, and you then, as always, were true to me. And then she embraced her and kissed her, and she bestows fairy gifts that she'll be her mother's comfort, richer than her father, and live for 100 years, ever beautiful, never ill, never wrinkled, never old. So the queen begged her to take Joliet away and take care of her, and adding that she gave her child for a daughter for the fairy.
But she didn't get to go with her.
No.
There's only enough magic for one of them.
Yeah, the fairy accepts the gift, thanks the queen, and takes the girl in a basket and lets it down. But she stopped for an instant to change herself back into a mouse so that she could go down by the cord. And when she gets down there, the child is gone.
Oops.
Took a bit to get down there.
Oops.
Yeah, when you're a mouse, it takes you some time. She climbs back up, tells the queen that all is lost because her enemy...
Whoops. Sorry, lady.
Her enemy...
Good news and bad news.
Her enemy, Kenkaline, has carried off the princess.
Probably should have mentioned before.
I haven't...
I have a sworn enemy. They fuck with me on occasion.
Wait, is it the
Didn't
fairies?
think it was gonna come up.
Is it the fairies' enemy?
Yes. You must know there is a cruel fairy who hates me.
No.
Again, should have mentioned this earlier. That's my bad.
And unhappily, being older than I, she has more power. I don't know how to get Joliet out of her wicked clutches.
I was just about to say,
I'm gonna throw my little
Like-
mice hands up.
this feels kind of like pretty straightforward as a fairy tale, and then suddenly there's a made-up rival named Kankaline.
Queen figures she's gonna die of grief and begs her fairy friend to find the baby at whatever cost. And meanwhile, the servant comes to the queen's room, finds that the child has been born, goes to the king, who hastened to demand the princess, but the queen told him that a fairy whose name she did not know had come and taken her away by force.
Not totally untrue.
Yeah, it's not a bad lie. Now the wicked king stamped his foot and bit his nails till he had none left.
Feet or nails?
Nails, I think.
Not feet.
He says, I told you I should hang you, and I'm going to keep my promise at once. So he drags her into the woods, climbs up to a tree, and was going to hang her when that mouse fairy makes her invisible and then pushes him, making him fall from the top of the tree and break 4 of his teeth.
Which 4?
Right incisor, 2 molars, and the front one.
Those are the best teeth!
He had the magic force spread.
Well, all the king's horses and all the king's men were trying to put his teeth back together again. The fairy took the queen away in a flying chariot to a beautiful castle. This is where the word car shows up.
Invisibly.
Excuse
I
me.
think that can still be a car.
Sure.
It's magic.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Is this is the same fairy?
Yeah, this
The
is
mouse fairy?
Mouse fairy.
Who took her away in a flying chariot.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna go ahead and pretend that this is actually Ralph S. Mouse.
Why?
On a motorcycle?
Yeah.
Why was plan A turn into a mouse and run down a rope when flying chariot was on the table?
Maybe she had it. Maybe it's like a taxi system. And it had
No. It's not. One is definitely better than the other. Like chariot better than mouse for this scenario. Flying chariot is exactly what you want.
So the queen, who by the way is constantly mentioned as the princess in here because they forgot she was married.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
Do you
changing
degrade?
it. Huh?
Does your status degrade over time?
If
If you are unwed long enough,
yeah,
you become a princess again?
yeah, and then a baby. Like, you just Benjamin Button your way back from the moment of your husband's death. You're not worth anything anymore. You're just a mewling, helpless infant. And to that extent, the fairy is taking care of the queen in this castle. And if the queen had had the princess with her, she would have been quite happy, but it was impossible to discover where Cancaline had hidden her, though the little mouse did her very best. The fairy is also repeatedly just referred to as the mouse.
Well, that's how we know her as.
Maybe she should try something other than being a mouse.
But it's so much fun.
What if she's a mouse for real and fairy is her disguise?
She should
Seems
try.
elaborate.
She should try a different disguise, like a big bird with lasers for eyes, that can look at stuff really good, like where fairies are. Right?
A bird with fairy lasers.
Anything is possible.
So time goes on, and the queen's sorrow softens, and time equals 15 years when a rumor spread abroad that the wicked king's son was going to marry the maid who takes care of his turkeys, although that maid did not want to marry him. Because it was surprising that a turkey maiden should refuse to be queen, the mouse fairy wants to go check her out. And even though she's refused, wedding garments are ordered, and wedding people are coming from 100 leagues around to watch this wedding this woman is refusing to have. So the mouse goes to see the turkey herd, and she heads to the poultry house, finds this woman dressed in coarse linen, barefoot, and with a dirty cloth on her head.
Is that marriage garb?
There were gold and silver garments, and diamonds and pearls, and ribbons and laces lying on the ground, and the turkeys were trampling on them, making them filthy and spoiling them with poop.
As turkeys are wont to do.
The turkey herd was sitting on a large stone, and the wicked king's son, who was deformed, blind, and lame, was saying rudely, "If you will not give me your heart, I shall kill you." And she answers proudly, "I shall not marry you. You are too ugly, and you are like your cruel father. Leave me alone with my little turkeys. I like them better than all of your finery."
I wish she'd lead with the cruelty argument instead of the ugly one, because I think that would lend her a little bit more credence.
Yeah, there's one of those arguments is legit.
You're rude and cruel to me, but that's not why I'm not going to marry you.
Marry me or die.
Because you're a gross cripple person.
No, you're gross. Also cruel. Mostly ugly.
Yeah, this was disclaimer for the podcast, written during a time when beauty was equated with goodness, and not beauty equated with the rest, and beauty was a very limited frame.
And you're saying that that's different from now.
We're getting better.
Are we?
We're not there yet. We no longer so narrowly define beauty, and we don't 100% associate it with good things. And we don't associate ugly with bad all the time. Sometimes we do, but other times orange men get to be president. We're moving in a different direction.
We're moving somewhere.
Yeah. We got work to do. We need to stop judging people on their appearances, but we do need to still judge them on their behaviors.
On their shitty hearts.
Yeah, like that cruelty thing is a good argument that she makes, and we should keep that in mind going forward. Appearance-based arguments, not so much. Anyway, that's a disclaimer for the podcast. We do not hold the same views that Madame Dunois does on pretty much anything. Little Mouse looks at her with admiration because she's as beautiful as the sun, and that's what matters. And as soon as the wicked king's son went away, the fairy transforms into an old shepherdess and compliments her turkeys. And the turkey herd tells her, "They want me to leave these fine turkeys for a miserable crown. What do you have to say about that?" And the fairy says, "A crown is a very fine thing. You neither know the value nor the weight of it." And the turkey herd says, "Yep, I do, and that's why I'm never going to wear it. But I don't know who I am, nor who my father is, nor who my mother is. I have neither parents nor friends."
Just these turkeys.
Only turkeys.
Which is a lot to weigh on someone who just wandered by and complimented your turkeys.
She's had a day, though.
It's like...
I get it.
It's like when the cashier says, "Hi, how are you?" and you just answer them honestly.
Oh, God.
The day I've had, lady.
Hold on, I'm going to grab more stuff for you to ring up so I can talk longer.
The wise fairy informs her that she has beauty and goodness, and they're better than 10 kingdoms.
This is an interesting therapy session. There's a new meaning to the phrase retail therapy.
You gotta buy those
It's like,
minutes.
I'll listen to your problems, but you gotta have stuff for me to read
Gotta have
out.
some merch.
And
I
I'm
wonder
a
if there's
very
a-
good shrink.
I wonder if there's a business model in that somewhere.
I don't know what it is.
Like, if you're a licensed therapist, instead of renting out an office somewhere, you rent a retail space.
You make minimum wage. I'm not seeing it so far.
Or you could be owner-operator.
Okay.
Have you guys encountered those like websites that link to Amazon and then get a kickback for it?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
What if psychiatrists started doing that during their sessions? Like, here, why don't you just browse for a bit while we chat? Get some hot ticket items for yourself while we unpack some things.
And then it becomes pay to play. It's like, oh, if you want the last 10 minutes of your session, you need to buy something.
You need to at least get the box set of MASH.
It's Denny's rules. You can stay as long as you want, but you gotta keep buying stuff. Even if it's just drinks and fries.
So the fairy, after saying that beauty and goodness is better than 10 kingdoms, asks her, like, where did she come from if she doesn't know any of these relations, and she tells her, oh, this wicked fairy Cancaline is the cause of this. She used to beat me and would knock me down without any cause or reason, so I ran away, stopped in the woods. The wicked king's son came to walk there, offered me a job as a servant in his yard, and he gave me turkeys. And then he used to come constantly to see them, and he saw me too, and then he fell in love with me and won't leave me alone.
Is this the daughter?
Yeah,
How much time has passed?
15 years.
Enough for her to be 15.
So 15 years.
Yeah, I think that's 15, right?
Usually.
How old was she when she was born, though?
Tough one.
Does it just start at 0?
She didn't cry, so she's at least 7
Is that how old you have to be?
before you stop crying at everything.
Yeah.
Legally,
We get
yes.
like 5 and 6 year olds who still like burst into tears at the beginning of camp for no reason.
Yeah,
And usually that
7
stops
sounds
by
right.
7. So she was born at 7 years old. 15 years have definitely passed, so she's in her early 20s.
Okay, so she's about to leave marrying age.
Sure. She does have like the jaded attitude
Her-
toward love that comes with the mid-20s.
Her eggs are rotting by the minute.
She does confirm that her name is Juliet. The fairy no longer doubts who she could possibly be.
Fairy had to make sure that this wasn't some other girl that Cancaline had kidnapped.
Yeah. Kangoline's always doing this, so you gotta narrow it down.
I appreciate the thoroughness, I guess. Like, make sure. Don't assume.
Hit me with that SSN, girl.
Fairy hugs her out of nowhere.
Give me the SSN, give me the ASL. 2 of them I can guess, but... you know. Just make sure.
Fairy hugs her apropos of nothing and informs her that she's known her for a very long time, which is not exactly true.
Not at all.
And creepy from a stranger.
I've known about you, kind of.
I did drop you out a window
She-
once. I did lose you. I don't know you, but it is my fault that
Yeah,
you're
the
here.
fairy hugs her, like pats her on the back and just whispers, "It's all my fault."
And whispers, I could have been a chariot. I chose to be a mouse. And now you're here.
There's a t-shirt slogan.
My bee, turkey turds.
They told me I could become a chariot, but I became a mouse.
The fairy is glad that she finds Juliet so good and so well bred, but wishes her to be cleaner because she's like a little scullion, and then gives her some pretty clothes to put on instead.
Yeah, fix her up.
So Juliet, who is very obedient, except when it comes to marriage proposals, at once casts away the dirty clothes. So I guess just gets naked in the middle of a turkey yard. Shakes her.
Nothing those turkeys haven't seen before.
She shakes her head a little, and her hair, which was as fair as sunlight and fine as golden threads, covered her from head to foot. So I guess her modesty is still preserved somewhat.
Why are they always blonde?
Because, again, narrow definition of what makes beauty and therefore goodness.
Yeah. Do you think
Used to
there
be
were
blonde and
like
pale.
do you think there were like social media campaigns back then, like the social justice? I don't want to use social justice warrior because people have turned it into
What it is not.
like a stanky term, which it isn't. But do you think that like the socially conscious people were starting campaigns about
The woke folk.
Yeah.
the woke folk of the late 19th century were like running campaigns about body image and hair color?
Yeah, they were writing woke letters. And
Black is beautiful meant something very different. Black is beautiful as long as it's your hair, not your skin color, because
That shit better be white as snow.
because it's still
Yeah,
it's
we
still
still-
racist times.
we still agree with this part of the beauty definitions, but our brunette hair needs some affection too.
Yeah.
Why don't the blondes get
What
one?
about the other white women? They-
This is why social justice is still taking forever to take hold in our
Yeah.
society. Because we have to take super baby steps.
Yeah, because everybody freaks out. Okay,
Everything, everything's gross. Let's move on.
good lessons.
She washes her face becomes as fair as an eastern pearl, yada yada. Roses are blowing on her cheeks and lips, and her breath smells like thyme, and
It's
her,
an anime sequence, I got it.
yeah.
The spice, right?
The
Yeah.
spice?
The spice.
The spice?
Time.
The companion to rosemary.
Said her breath smells like time.
Oh,
And that sounds like some comic book nonsense.
yeah. Yeah, it does. Time breath.
So she dresses up in the fairy's fancy clothes. And the fairy asks her who she thinks she is now, and she says, well, I feel like the daughter of a king. And the fairy says,
Bing,
well,
bing, bing.
would you be happy if that were the truth?
You got it.
Survey says.
And she says, yes, she'd be happy if that were true. And the fairy says, cool. Well, be easy in your mind. I'll tell you more tomorrow. So the fairy goes back to her own castle.
That's the kind of thing I would do in like 4th and 5th grade when I was writing stories, and it was late at night, and I was like, I gotta stop now, but I have to wrap this up, and one character just is like, I'll tell you later.
In my stories in that age, they just fell asleep.
And then they went to sleep,
They
and
just
then
made camp.
they woke up, and then they explored each other sexually.
Well, it's not that to that level in 4th and 5th grade.
Oh.
Were you an early bloomer?
My sensibilities were very European.
Trying to figure out which meaning you're going for there.
I don't think either meaning is true, but you can guess.
So the mouse talks to the queen and says, hey, will you give me your stuff for the best news you could ever hear? And the queen says, since the death of King Joyous and the loss of my daughter, I wouldn't give a pin for the news, for all the news of the world. And the queen says, shut up. Princess is doing fine. I found her.
Yeah.
She's also gorgeous. She's so beautiful she can be a queen if she likes.
Was that fairy joking, or was that fairy actually trying to bilk this woman out of more stuff?
I think she was joking. Because the queen is spinning, and a distaff and a spindle are not very valuable things.
She's trying to get a payment plan out of her when this fairy lost the daughter to begin with.
She's retroactively collecting insurance.
So the fairy tells the queen the story, who's crying for joy to know that her daughter is so beautiful, and sadness to think that she kept turkeys.
Whoa!
Of all the things I never wanted for my daughter.
I guess turkey keeping
It had to be turkeys!
is stripping for Harvard money in these times.
Is Tom Turkey what you used to call Johns
What?
on the street?
Is what?
Tom Turkey?
Yeah. What?
Is that old-timey for John?
Is it? It's a number 4 at Jimmy John's. Does that help?
What is that pimp code for?
I don't know, but I want to find out. I think it's fun to just kind of slip phrases like that to people in a very conspiratorial tone.
Alright, so the queen's upset because they used to be like kings and queens and really rich, and they could never believe that their child would one day keep turkeys. And the fairy says, "It's that darn Cancaline, who, knowing how I love you, just to spite me, reduced her to that condition. But she will come out of it, or I shall burn my books."
This fairy might be more trouble than she's worth. I feel like we're heading toward that tipping point.
I feel like this fairy is more incompetent than anything. But we'll
Yeah.
discuss her.
I don't remember a lot of, like, just plain incompetent fairies.
Yeah, Fairy, I feel like my life has been demonstrably worse since it became entangled with yours.
You didn't need to test me. Like, you knew my situation was shitty. We didn't have to become friends. You could have just, I don't know, taken me out of the tower in a magic carriage and put me anywhere else.
Yeah.
At any point.
Yeah, hold on. This fairy makes this queen jump through a bunch of hoops before they can be friends.
And then promptly loses her baby.
But, like, what kind of message does that send? Like, I'll save your baby and maybe you, but only if you prove your friendship's worth first? Like, if you don't go through all this, I'm just gonna let your baby die. Sorry. Shouldn't there be some testing on both sides?
Yeah, probably, but that's fairies for you.
I guess.
The queen says that she doesn't want her daughter to marry that boy, the Wicked King's son.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go tomorrow and bring her here. Which probably could have been done today.
Where is here?
Yeah.
The castle.
Back to the tower?
Queen.
No, the queen's in the fairy's castle that the...
Oh, that's right. They got out.
Yeah.
In a chariot.
Right.
Which is... Yeah, okay.
So the queen is like, "Oh, this is all excellent to hear. Where is she? Did you bring her?"
Nope. All right. Well,
Doing it tomorrow.
Let me gently hint that that's the next plan of action. So, meanwhile, back at the ranch, the Wicked King's son is angry about Joliet and goes and sits under a tree and weeps and howls aloud. His father hears him, goes to the window, and shouts to him, "Why are you crying? What a fool you are!" So, Dad's shouting from a window. I just want that to be clear.
And the townspeople are like, "Well, they're going at it again."
Yep. And the son shouts back, "Because your turkey herd will not love me." And the king says, "Well, I insist on her loving you or else she dies." And he calls to his men-at-arms and he says, "Go and fetch her and I will punish her so she'll be sorry for her obstinacy."
Is this Delnois' clever way of letting the herd girl hear all this conversation?
No, because
Okay.
the men-at-arms go to the poultry yard, find Joliet in a beautiful dress with a lot of description. And they hardly dare to speak to her, thinking she must be a princess. And she says, "I beg of you, tell me whom you're looking for here." And they say, "Madame, we're looking for a miserable little girl called Joliet." And she says, "Alas, that's me. What do you want?"
Wait, what?
They don't think she's Joliet because she's dressed like a princess, so...
Despite being in a turkey herd
Oh, is this the prince now?
barn.
No, these are the men-at-arms.
But on the prince's behalf.
Sent by the king.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
And so when she tells them her name, they take hold of her, bind her feet and hands, and carry her to the Wicked King and his son. The king saw
Like a
that
pig on a spit.
Yeah. The king saw that she was beautiful, so he was a little bit touched, but there's no doubt he would have taken pity on her if he had not been the wickedest and cruelest man in the world. But he is, so he tells her that his son is 100 times handsomer, one of his looks is worth more than the whole of her person, and you have to love him at once or I will have you flayed. The princess shakes like a pigeon, kneels before him, and says, "Sire, I'd rather you not flay me. Please don't do that. That would hurt me too much. Leave me one...
Yeah, it would.
Leave me 1 or 2 days to think what I ought to do, and then you may do what you will with me."
Is marriage still on the table?
Yeah, he wants her to love his son.
Okay.
His great son, who's awesome and beautiful.
And the best.
The
And
best
the
son.
best.
He has the best sons.
The son, however, is
The wedding will have the largest attendance in the globe.
The son is desperate and wishes her to be flayed. I guess he's into that. But the The
Also
king,
over it, apparently.
yeah. The king and the sun decided between him that instead of doing that, they'll shut her in a tower where she couldn't even see the sun. But just then, the good fairy came in the flying chariot with the queen. They learned all the news. The queen began to cry, as is her usual reaction.
Her only role.
She said she'd rather her daughter were dead than marry the wicked king's son, but the fairy said,
Okay, let's go kill her.
Take heart, I'm going to tire them out so that you will be fully satisfied and revenged.
What does that mean?
We're going to find out. So when the wicked king was going to bed, daughter's locked up in a tower, by the way.
Yeah, no son.
The fairy turned herself back into a mouse, hid under his pillow, and as soon as he tried to fall asleep, she bit his ear. Very angrily, he turned on his other side, and then she bit his other ear. He yells murder and calls for his attendants. When they came, they find his 2 ears bitten and bleeding so much that the blood was not stopping, which probably just means hemophilia.
Found a good vein.
Yeah.
Up in the ear.
They looked everywhere for the mouse, and she ran into the wicked king's son's room and did the same thing. And he called his men and had band-aids put on his ears, or plasters, as it's written here. The mouse goes back to the wicked king's room, bites his nose, and begins to gnaw it. He puts his hands up, she scratches them. He yells, "Have mercy, I am lost," and she takes that opportunity to go into his mouth and nibble his tongue, his lips, and his cheeks. So his servants come in and see him in fearful condition, not able to speak. And he signed to them that the mouse had done it, but she had already left for the sun, and eats up the sun's good eye, when he only had one good eye. And Sun rises like a madman with a sword in his head and rushes, blind as he was, into his father's room, who had also taken up his sword and who was storming and swearing that he would kill everybody if they did not catch the mouse.
This guy cannot take what he is dishing out.
When he saw his son so desperate, he burst out into abuse of him, and the son, who was in a burning rage, not recognizing his father's voice, threw himself on him.
I thought it was a mouse.
And they, killed each other with their swords and fell down in a great pool of blood.
Yeah, that sounds like they're tuckered.
And all of their subjects, who hated them mortally and only served them out of fear, fastened cords to their feet and dragged them to the river, saying how happy they were to be rid of them. He opens the door, and also all the others, and they take the princess out, and the queen introduces herself as her mother, Queen Joyous, and tells her the whole story of her life. Joliet nearly dies of joy, throws herself at the queen's feet. They're all happy. The fairy brings her jewels and diamonds and etc., and a portrait of King Joyous surrounded with precious stones.
Here's your dead dad.
And then the fairy says, "This is not a time for play. We must carry out a great revolution in the state. Let us come and speak to the people in the great hall of the castle." So the fairy went first with a grave and serious face, with the train of her dress sweeping more than 10 ells behind her. The queen went next, and the princess followed, and they're all dressed in a lot of stuff. And then they bowed to all that they met, to the poor as well as the great, and all the people followed them, eager to know who these fair ladies might be. When the hall was full, the good fairy said to the subjects of the wicked queen that she wished to give them for the queen, the daughter of King Joyous, promised to seek a husband for her as perfect as herself, who would always be merry and who would chase away sadness from every heart. And all the people are excited about this, and 100 kinds of instruments struck up on all sides, and everyone dances, and they're joyous forever. When the young princess woke...
I just want you to say 2 words.
I'm not there yet.
Just 2.
I know it's coming.
We're close. So they feasted, and the next day, the young princess woke up, and the fairy presented to her the handsomest prince that ever saw the light.
Where'd they find that guy?
She had but been to fetch him in the flying chariot from the other end of the world. He was as lovely as Joliet.
Stop. I could see the
And
end on your screen.
They loved each other, and they were charmed and joyful,
Please.
and a wedding happened. The
Please.
end.
Thank you.
There was a lot more detail.
I'm sure there was.
I could have gone on.
I know. Okay. You ready?
Sure. Okay, on the surface we have a good fairy here. She kind of murders a wicked king and overthrows a terrible leadership and replaces it with happiness. So
I guess.
that seems okay.
Kind of bumbling.
Yeah, not competent, but well-intentioned.
Maybe.
A dumbkin.
Maybe
you will.
well-intentioned.
I would like to see the original Futurama crew remake this one
Why?
in Futurama. I just think it'd work. I think that'd be fun.
With who is who?
Fry's the fairy.
Okay.
The good fairy,
Yeah.
definitely. Which makes Leela the queen.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Nibbler the baby then? / princess?
Does it? Okay. Well, I didn't think this far ahead. Maybe Zat Brannigan is the evil king? That's enough.
Kankatine.
Okay,
What's her name?
yeah, hold on. Never mind. Forget the Futurama thing.
Kerosene.
Doesn't work. Kankaline?
Kanko-matic.
Kankeltine?
Her name's mentioned only twice in Cankaline.
Huh?
Cankaline.
Definitely has Cankle in it, right?
That's Cancaline.
Yeah, Cankle.
Cankaline.
Kankle Queen.
Whose existence is not verified.
She's
No.
like...
Well, the Juliet corroborates it, at least.
She definitely thinks that there's a fairy.
Named Kankaline.
We do have a fairy who has transformed into several things to
Mhm.
prove points.
So
Is it possible...
you're trying to pitch me on the idea that the baby was down in the basket the whole time, and she just said it had been kidnapped
Yes.
for 15 years.
What?
I'm just saying, this fairy has been playing head games from the beginning.
Uh-huh.
You're saying what? Say your thing again.
Carmen is proposing to us
Yeah.
that the baby was never kidnapped.
Uh-huh.
That the fairy just said, like, went down, came back up, said, oh, no baby in that basket.
Uh-huh.
Let's go, friend of mine, bestie.
Uh-huh.
We'll go. I'll find her maybe someday. Ooh, that Kankaline.
Right.
I mean, there is an ooh, that Cankaline moment where the queen's like, well, my daughter had a shittier life than I intended, and the fairy's like, yep, that
Yep.
Cankaline wasn't me.
Kankaline will do that to you every time.
I was
It's because she loves me
Hands
that
are
she
tied.
does this to you.
about to say, what if the good fairy is Kankaline?
Right, that is what is being proposed.
Yeah, but I was gonna say that before you said it.
Okay.
I had the same thought. That's my point.
I reject it, but pitch me anyway.
Okay, well, she plays head games from the moment she meets this queen.
Sure.
She knows the situation. So, instead of helping the situation, she's already piteous toward the queen when she first sees her.
Yeah. Ish.
She hugs her and she's like, I'm going to help you out
She
of
hugs
this.
everybody, though.
It's
That
true.
doesn't mean anything.
Could be an act.
We don't know what that means at this point, but first meeting, hugs her and tells her she's going to help her out of this. But then puts her through a number of bullshit tests, waits a long time before even showing up for the first bit,
Mhm.
like long enough for the queen to get thin as a herring on her diet,
Yeah.
which is going to take a week or two.
Time
At
for a
least.
mouse dance.
Shows up, does like all the weird psychological testing, turns into the evil woman. When I first gave this a glance through read, I thought that the woman who wanted to eat the mouse was maybe Kankaline,
That would have made sense.
trying to destroy her rival.
Specifically seeking a mouse.
Because she knows that this fairy who's called the little mouse all the time
Right.
is constantly in mouse form.
I'm in the market for mice. Mice only.
So I thought on first reading that was Kankaline, but then this time round noticed that the fairy takes credit for turning into that woman to
Mhm.
test the queen once more. So she's already been one antagonist. Why not another? What's Kankaline doing that she's watching this fairy all the time? Why would it be good revenge on the fairy to steal some unrelated woman's baby who has only known that the fairy is not a mouse for like a minute? So, and this infant has been born for also like 2 minutes. So it's not like the fairies had time to form a bond with it.
Right.
Is a nonsense revenge, requires Kankaline to be there immediately.
Right.
Uh,
That was strange.
Right. The fairy is somehow completely powerless, knows that this is her enemy. We don't know why this is her enemy.
Because she's older and uglier.
Well, she's older and more powerful, which is why she can't do anything
Right.
about it, including finding this woman at all. So,
All right, we got Kaiser Soze.
I was gonna say the final shot of this movie is the picture of Kankleteen printing out. And we see the fairy walking away, and her limp straightens out.
Disappears. Well, this should make you happy, because that means that Kevin Spacey gets to play a fairy in this movie.
awesome. I want that. He's already played a talking cat,
Yeah,
so
he'd do it.
his
What
standards
else
have
is
become
he
low.
doing now?
Nothing,
Not
apparently.
much.
I don't even
House of
want to
Cards
watch.
is coming back, right?
I don't even want to watch that show anymore.
Why?
It's too real.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to watch a show about upsetting White House stuff. I watch that every day.
It's not supposed to be a guidebook.
So to what end? Why? Any of it?
That is a good question.
For future favors.
And a friend?
Well, she definitely wants to upset this kingdom.
Yeah.
And there are some good reasons for that.
Yeah.
It's a shitty kingdom.
She's quick to jump on the revolution bandwagon once
She-
everything is dusted.
Yeah. She needed a good figurehead for the new kingdom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's the daughter.
Yeah. Who, she's now rescued from a terrible situation. So, yeah, there would be some favors owed there.
Do you think she had to live with turkeys? She's the new queen. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end, that's
Yeah.
how that worked out.
Married to a prince brought to her by the same fairy.
Right. Do you think that this fairy wanted someone in power who was
Cricket doesn't want you to speak.
Go.
sympathetic to the common person, who wasn't bougie?
Potentially.
So she kidnapped a princess and made her live with turkeys her whole life.
Yeah. So she wouldn't be out of touch
Yeah.
with the common man.
Right.
Could be a possibility.
And could lead them to revolution.
Keeping her humbled is good. Starting her from a humble situation, then immediately elevating her up higher and giving her compliments and a husband all at the same time would make her a little bit easier to influence, I would think.
Was she tired of giving magical favors to the other king?
To the wicked one?
Yeah.
Maybe. He did treat her more courteously than he did anyone else, which was an interesting note,
Right. Well, she's powerful.
To
And
make.
magic.
theoretically.
Which one? The fairy?
The fairy.
What if he's her ex?
But is she hot?
She's a mouse, for one.
But is she hot? We've
She's a
already
pretty
already
mouse.
discussed hot mice. What else we got?
Well, what if the fairy's the king's ex?
Sure.
Why?
I don't know. He treats her nice and she hates him.
I think that's reverence for her ability more than trying to get back in her favor.
Okay. I mean, that was just a dumb suggestion. Okay, so she overthrows a kingdom, executes 2 people, perpetuates the idea that beauty is good.
She overthrows 2 kingdoms, doesn't she?
No.
Does he? Which kingdom do we end in? I've already forgotten. Is it the one with the sun?
We end in the wicked kingdom.
Which one's the wicked one, though? There were 2.
The sad kingdom.
Yeah, there was
The tier one.
Yeah.
Joy Kingdom, which wasn't a wicked kingdom.
Right.
It was just a makey outy kingdom.
But I guess.
But where were the king and the son that stabbed each other? What
It's
kingdom was theirs?
That's the
Sad
wicked.
Kingdom next
It's
door.
Wicked King and Wicked King's son
In Sad Kingdom.
in Land of Tears.
15 years later.
Yes.
Oh, right. I forgot he had a son.
Yeah, that's
What?
that whole
She
reason
was
for the-
arranged to
But
marry
we're ending
in the first place.
We're ending in the Sad Kingdom.
Right.
Can she not just move back home?
Well, theoretically, I mean, he's killed the king of Happy Kingdom
Yeah.
Yeah.
and taken
so?
the wife. Doesn't he own that kingdom now legally?
Probably.
So it's all the same kingdom.
Oh, sure, I guess.
It was cooed.
So it's a united kingdom. However, the Wicked King has to hear about King Joyous and have this somehow irritate him into action.
Yeah.
And the things that make King Joyous happy don't seem to be things that matter to the Wicked King.
But he doesn't like that. He doesn't like that he's different.
Doesn't like that he's happy.
Yeah.
I don't know. As part of me suspects that the Wicked King was pushed into war a little bit.
I know. You always want to go down that road.
I do.
Is that the fairies are doing everything.
Not everything. Birds are doing a lot of bullshit too. I don't know. Maybe she just took advantage of an unstable political situation to.
She certainly did that. She caused a revolution.
Right, to put her own person in place.
Yeah.
Why was the princess unsupervised in a field of turkeys?
It's her job.
Can she get? She can leave.
Yeah, but gainful
Right.
employment's hard to come by.
And so are good friends.
She can take the turkeys with her.
She really likes her turkeys.
Take them with her.
They're dumb. They don't know where to go.
Maybe she's not a good herd.
She just likes turkeys. She's not good at her job.
She just hangs out with them.
She does it for free for the love of it.
They're the only ones who haven't judged her by her appearance.
What is the moral of this story?
It's okay to shove princesses out windows as long as you follow up with a revolution later.
It kind of started with something about friendship, right?
Right.
Kind of.
Like you should be friends with somebody because you like them, not to use them. But
I mean,
I'm not sure that really holds for the rest of the story.
yeah, if you stop there, it's a decent story with plot and moral.
If you keep going...
We got pretty close this time.
Yeah,
I wonder how...
If all of the Dal Noir stories we read had been term papers that she turned in, I wouldn't even write See Me After Class on this one. I'd just give it a D and be done with it.
Yeah,
she's getting there.
It's a D. It's an improvement. Maybe she could get to most improved. By the end of this, we should start giving out awards to these authors. I don't know if you have another one of these
Superlatives.
Locked and loaded for any reason, but maybe we'll have more comparisons soon.
Perhaps.
Yeah, we don't have any other special events coming up soon that we need to remember.
Yeah, well.
I'm kind of curious what was happening to her
Nah.
in this time period.
Oh, in the 15 years?
No, to Dal Noir. Alright, her
who
book
knows?
was published, The Fairy Tales of Madame Dal Noir was published in 1892, which really does not help because she lived in 1650 to 1705.
Yeah, it doesn't help at all.
So
Who knows?
That does not give me an actual timeline for when she wrote this and what was maybe going on in her life. But maybe...
I think what was going on was that she was needlessly writing stories that no one wanted to read for another century.
Do you have any other story questions?
It was part of her 1697 collection. I don't know. There's nothing telling about why she would have gone through this dark period of this villain who wrings children's necks with his own hands when he hears that some lady's happy in his kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the fairies' comments on fairy friendships are indicative of how the whole species feels?
No. I think it's either an outlier or a trick. I don't trust them.
Yeah, I definitely don't trust this fairy to be as kind and benevolent as she portrays herself to be, because she could have solved that problem very easily.
It was a long way around.
Yeah.
I'm going to be on the lookout for Cankeline.
Cankeline?
Cankeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just
I
think
don't
of
think
Cankles.
Cankeline exists.
Probably not.
We don't have the good fairy's name, so she could be anybody.
It could literally anyone.
Yeah, that is the most suspicious part, I think. We get the name of a fairy we never see. Don't get the name of the one that we're hanging out with. Other than Mouse.
Yep.
Cool.
So that's our 100th episode.
We did it.
We read a Dal Noir that halfway makes sense.
I call that progress.
It's one of her better ones.
Yeah.
It's also the shortest one I could find on short notice.
Or maybe we're just desensitized.
Wait, short notice? We had this planned.
Oh, right. because nothing bad ever happened to our previous recording of the 100th episode, which didn't exist because we didn't need to do it.
We started this show with a Dal Noir, and damn it, we'll end it with one someday.
We will. But when we run out of Dal Noirs, that's it. We're done with this podcast.
That's the time limit.
So if you start hearing a lot of Dal Noirs in a row, it means we're getting sick of each other.
Send help. Send help. Something's wrong. Okay. Good.
Yep.
Good. Everybody's satisfied with where that went.
Yeah.
We made it through the wilderness.
How does it feel?
I mean, this is only the
Fifth.
fifth Dal Noir we've read.
Fourth. Fifth?
Fifth.
Fifth.
Fifth?
Which brings us to 3 out of 5 that we fit in one episode. 1 out of those 5 had to go over 4 episodes, though, so I don't know how you rank that. So, thumbs up, everybody.
8 out of 10. Cats. I don't know.
We could read a Dal Noir about a cat soon.
We sure can't. There's no time.
We sure cannot.
The episode is over. We can't do that.
You sure it's a good one?
We can't.
It's one of my favorites.
We can't. I can see the audio file tearing itself apart as we speak. This has to be done.
Hopefully this one takes.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to do that again.
Looks fine, but...
So did the last one.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening to number 100 and any of 1 through 99 that you might have listened to.
We appreciate the support of our patrons, commenters, and story suggesters that have carried us on their backs through the mires of folklore thus far.
But it's not enough.
No matter the media in which they choose to contact us.
But thank you. But it's not enough. It is enough. Just kidding.
Gordy wants more.
That's all good. But really, if you feel like sharing it, share the episode. Or rate us on iTunes or do any of those fun things.
Or send us more fun stories.
Yeah, you can always suggest one if there's one that you want to hear.
Most of our best episodes have come from listener suggestions, so...
I guess it doesn't even, have to be a fairy tale.
It does. Gordy's just trying to get out of this.
Right? Maybe you just got some good fiction lying around.
Gordy, no one's going to let us read Dune.
I'm just not talking about that.
Next week, Mary Shelley.
The art of the short story. Yeah, thanks everybody. There are links to everything you need in the show notes. So go down there. It goes to YouTube. It goes to Patreon. It goes to Facebook, Twitter, blogs, probably.
It's a lot easier than trying to type the URL as we're speaking it.
Yeah, I don't remember. But go follow those. Go enjoy your lives. Live life to the fullest.
We'll eventually have more blog posts. I now work the same part-time job plus a full-time job, so it's gotten a little hairy. But
And if living your life to the fullest to you means doing stuff in your room, I think that's okay.
what?
You don't have to go out. I don't know, it's just a general lesson for everybody.
Dance the dance of the mouse, you crazy diamond.
Dance the dance that you want to dance. And if it's not a dance, then don't dance. Nobody's making you.
Well, thank you, Doug.
Shaka bra.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Doug.
This has been What the Folklore, number 100. That's how it works. Thank you, Doug, now and forever.
Thus ends this chapter of the Book of Doug.
Tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, hi-di-hi-di-hi-di-ho, tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, happily ever after. Tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, hi-di-hi-di-hi-di-ho, tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, she lived happily ever after.
This has been What the Folklore. Thanks for listening to our show. If you have any feedback for us, you can leave it either by Gmail or Facebook. Our Gmail account is wtfolklore@gmail.com, and our Facebook page can be found at facebook.com/WTFolklore. Feel free to send in stories if you have any particularly odd pieces of folklore or mythology that you would like to hear us talk about. Special thanks to the Brobdingnagian Bards for the use of their song Happily Ever After from their album Brobdingnagian Fairy Tales.